in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to draw this New Year's Eve poster. Before you start drawing, please download the color palette and all the files I have mentioned in the description of this video. I also want to let you know that I am on Patreon. I have there many more step-by-step Procreate tutorials and also brushes. So if you're interested in drawing more with me, please check it out, link is in the description. And now I still want to say Happy New Year to all of you. And with all that being said, let's start. Let's make a new canvas, A4 canvas from Procreate. And first we are going to color the background in black. To do that, we can just open the background color here and pick black like this. Let's tap on Done. Now to this first layer we are going to import a picture of the clock. You can download it from the description like I mentioned in the start of this video. So you should have it saved on your iPad. If your iPad is updated to the newest iOS, you can do a little trick with the pictures. I will show you what you can do. Let's go to the photos. And here's the picture of the clock that I downloaded. We can press down and hold this clock like this, move it to the side for a second. And now here you can pick Copy. Let's open our Procreate again. And let's go to the Actions menu, Add, and pick Paste. Allow Paste. And you have here your clock like this. Very easy and fast. Let's make it bigger. Let's tap here to finish. This is very simple clock. I would like to change those arrows a little bit. For this we can just take this color here, press down here and you will get the right color. Let's pick the brush. Let's go to Inking and take Studio Pen. And with the brush size 50, we can just make them a little bit nicer. Now we are going to change the colors of this clock. To do that, let's go to the Adjustments and go to Gradient Map. Here let's tap on the plus to create a new gradient. Tap here on the square and tap here on the color palette. And let's take this orange one. Now let's make a new point here and change the color, so tap again, take the black, let's do one more somewhere around here, tap here, take the orange, now somewhere here we can take this yellow color, and the last one here, let's take this one. Let's tap here on Done, and then tap here. Now we can just fix here this a little bit. It doesn't look so nice now. Let's take the smudge tool. Let's tap on it again. And let's set this one to airbrushing. And then soft brush. Let's make the brush size here 2% and just smudge this a little bit here like this. So those colors will kind of blend together here. Okay, now in the same way that we imported this clock, we can import our champagne glasses. So let's open our pictures and take this picture here and tap on the champagne glasses. Move it to the side and then pick Copy. Now let's go to the Actions menu and pick Paste. And here we need only one glass. Let's make it bigger a little bit. Tap here. And we are going to erase everything else, but leave just one glass. So let's take the eraser, tap on it again. Let's set it to medium brush. Make the size 16 and just erase this. We don't need this. Now I'll make the bar size smaller, 5%, and erase this nicer over here. Okay. Let's duplicate this glass. So let's open the layers and swipe to the left and pick duplicate. Now let's take the arrow tool and we can move this. Let's rotate it this way a little bit. And let's go back to the other glass and rotate it this way. So it will look like we're doing a toast. Now let's merge those layers together so they are just one layer. So tap on the top layer here, tap again, and pick merge down. Now let's use the arrow tool to make them bigger, and let's put them somewhere around here. Tap here to finish. Now that we have those two elements, we can add some light to the background. Let's make a new layer for this. And let's move this under the clock. So here, let's pick the color. Take this one. And let's pick the brush. Let's go here to Luminance and take Bokeh Lights. My brush size is 43. And we can just add those lights here like this, all over the background. We are going to duplicate this layer now. Swipe it to the left and pick duplicate. And we are going to change the blending mode of this layer. Let's set this one to add. Let's turn down the opacity here a little bit. Let's make it 81%. I want this layer to be on top of everything here, so I'll move it up here. And now if we think this is a little bit too bright here, we can still turn down the opacity here. Let's make it 64. I want those lights in the background to be a little bit more yellowish. So I'm going back to this layer here. I'll make a new layer above it. I'm going to set it to clipping mask. So this way whatever we're going to add here will be visible only on the layer that's underneath it. And I will take a different color. I'll take this yellow one here. And I'll just drag and drop it in here. Now I'm going to change here the blending mode. I will change this to color burn. And I will turn down the opacity here to 70%. Now I would like to fade away this clock. Let's go to this layer here. And let's take the eraser, let's tap on it again, and pick here soft brush. Let's make it large, 35%, and very lightly erase here the bottom part of the clock like this. We are going to do the same now to the glasses, so let's go to the layer of them. And very lightly erase here the bottom of them. Now I will also erase those lights here a little bit. I'll go to this layer here and erase them just a little bit. Now we can start adding our text here. For this, let's make a new layer. And let's move it all the way to the top. We can keep this color for now. And let's go to the Actions menu and pick here Add Text. Let's write here 2023. Let's tap on this text like this. And now we can change here the font. I'm going to pick here Verdana in the bold style. And I will tap on Done. Now I'm going to add a new text. And I will write here Happy New Year. I will move it down here. Now we can adjust the size of this. Let's go back to the other text and use the arrow tool to adjust the size too. Okay. We can now duplicate those layers. So let's swipe to the left and pick duplicate. Let's tap here and pick edit text. Select it all. Tap here and we are going to add here outline. So let's tap here on this option. And now let's go to the colors. And let's pick this color here. Tap on done. And let's do the same to this text. So open the layers, let's duplicate it, tap on this, pick edit text, select it all, open the options, pick this option, and pick the color. Tap on done. Now I want this text to look like it's 3D. But before we do that, we are going to rasterize those layers so they are not text anymore, they're just normal layers. So let's tap here and pick rasterize. Same here, rasterize, rasterize, and also this one, rasterize. Now to get the 3D effect, we are going to duplicate this layer here, tap on the layer underneath it, tap on it again, and pick select. Here at the bottom, make sure the color fill is turned on. And we can pick the color. Let's take this one. Now, if you take the arrow tool, you can move it out like that. Tap here to finish. And now we have to connect those two together. So let's take the brush. Let's go to calligraphy and take monoline brush. Let's make it smaller, 13%. And we can just connect those two like this here. Okay, now we can add some shadow here. To do that, we are going to set this layer to alpha log. And it means we can only now draw on the shapes that are already on this layer. Let's change the color. Take this one and let's change the brush. Let's go to airbrushing and take soft brush. With the brush size 3%, we can add the shadow in the places it should be. So here, here, we're adding it in the corners and also under the letters. I'll make the brush size smaller now, 2%, and just make it more precise here and here. And I still actually have to connect those layers here on the rounded parts. So I'll go back to this color here. I'll unlock this layer, so I'll turn off the alpha lock. I'll go back to the calligraphy and monoline brush, and I'll just draw here lines like this. Now it looks better. So now we can do the same for this text. Let's open the layers. Let's tap on this layer here and duplicate it. Take the layer underneath it, tap on it and pick Select. We have already the right color here, this one. We can take the arrow tool and move it out, like that. Let's tap here to finish. And now let's connect those layers together. I'll make the brush size here even smaller, maybe 4%. Okay, all the letters are done. Now we can add here the shadow too. So let's set this layer to alpha lock. Let's change the color to this one. And let's change the brush. Go to airbrushing and take soft brush. With the small brush 2%, we can add the shadow. Now I'm going to make the brush size smaller. I'll take it to the almost bottom part here of the one. And I will just make sure that those corners here Nicely done. Okay, now I would like those letters to be gold. To do that, we are going to bring here our gold picture. So let's import it. Now let's just go to the Actions menu and go to Insert the photo. Bring here the gold picture. Let's rotate it maybe this way. Let's cover our number here. And we want this to be visible only on this number. So we have to move this above that number here, under the outline, and let's set this to clipping mask. Now if you want, you can still move this to adjust to your liking. Let's do the same for this text. We can just duplicate this now here and move it up here. Let's set this to clipping mask. And now we have to use the arrow tool to move it down here. Maybe let's rotate this. Tap here to finish. Now let's add here some shadow on those gold foils, so it will look like this outline is actually coming out of this text. To do that, we are going to take the outline layer, we are going to duplicate it, take the one underneath it, and let's change the color here. So let's tap on it and pick Select, make sure the color field is turned on, and let's pick here black color. Now we are going to move this. Let's take the arrow tool and tap here a few times, going this direction, to move it down like this. We are going to blur this just a little bit. So let's tap here to finish first. And now let's go to the adjustment and take Gaussian blur. Swipe your pencil on the screen to the blur size. And let's make it 2%. Tap here to finish. And now I want this shadow to be visible only on the gold parts. So we have to set this layer to clipping mask here. And this is how it looks now. Let's do the same for our number here. So let's take this layer here, duplicate it, take the bottom one, tap on it and pick Select. It is black now. Let's take the arrow tool and move it this way. Let's tap here to finish and take the Gaussian blur. Let's add the blur size 2%. And now let's set this to clipping mask. If you think this is a little bit too strong, we can just turn down the opacity of this. Let's make this 72%, and the same for the other shadow here. Let's make it 72%. Now let's add here some small shiny stars on those letters. Let's make a new layer on top of everything. Let's pick the color, take this one, and let's pick the brush. Let's go to Luminance and take the flare. This flare brush will give you like a star, but it will be always in the same direction. Let's change this. So let's tap here on this brush, and let's go here to the shape, and we can change here the rotation. This time, every time when you tap, it will be in a different position. And we can also change here the scatter. You can always bring it back later to 0. Let's tap on done now. And now let's add it in a few places. Let's make the brush size 11 and tap here. Maybe here. Now here. Let's go to this. Add it in a few places. And then we'll change the size and add some more of them. Okay, now a smaller size, 6%, and I'll add it in a few places. And the last one here. Now we can select some stars here going around this whole canvas. Let's make a new layer for this. Let's change the color. Take this orange one and let's pick the brush. We'll take here this one, Glimmer. Let's make the brush size 73 and just draw here like this. You have to do it a few times because this is how this brush works. So like that. Now we can change the blending mode of this. Let's set this one to add, make it really shiny. Let's turn it down a little bit. Let's make it 87. And now I want to erase this here in front of the clock. I want it to look like it's going behind the clock. So I'll take the eraser and I'll just erase it here. We can still maybe make those stars glow a little bit more. Let's open the layers and let's also set this layer to add and turn down the opacity so it's not too much. Let's make it 74. And now in the end, I would like to add here some paper texture to this whole poster. To do that, let's go to the Actions menu, go to Add, and insert a file. And here are my free paper textures, you can download them, link to them is in the description. I'm using here today color textures. If you want, you can use the black and white, pick whatever you like. And I will take this one, number 10. Let's move this layer all the way to the top. And let's change the blending mode here. Let's set this one to overlay. And turn down the opacity of this a little bit. Let's make it 59. And now let's duplicate this. And we are going to change the blending mode of this. Let's set this one to color burn. And turn down the opacity here. Let's make it 20. And now this illustration is finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you can share your drawing with me on my Instagram. I would love to see it. And if you did really like it and would like to draw more of me, make sure to check out my Patreon. Now in the end, I still have a shout out to my big fan supporters on Patreon. Thank you so much for being there with me. Thank you for watching and see you in my next video. Bye!